There is a great hatred toward Americans by large segments of the Muslim population. 25% agreed that violence against Americans here in the United States is justified. Sharia authorizes murder against non-believers, beheadings, and more unthinkable acts. It's going to get worse and worse. You're going to have more World Trade Centers. It's going to get worse and worse, folks.
Now, fear is an incredibly powerful emotion. Firstly, it captures our attention like no other emotion can. We focus intensely on the thing that is giving us that fear. Secondly, it shuts down higher thinking. When we're terrified by a bump in the night, we don't think rationally about the fact that it's likely just the wind. Our critical thinking skills dip as we focus simply on protecting ourselves. And thirdly, fear feels crappy. We don't like to feel afraid. So the fastest way to get out of fear and to move towards a powerful emotion is to move into anger.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. China's taking our jobs, they're taking our money. Syrians are now being caught at the southern border. We don't know who they are, could be ISIS. Would never have made that horrible, disgusting, incompetent deal with Iran. They're a terrorist nation.
Now, notably, the outlets for this anger are always outgroups. They're never necessarily segments of the voting population. They're Sharia Muslims or Mexican rapists, people that are not going to influence this election. And he sets it up so that if you disagree with him, you are on the side of the other. You are anti-American life. It's a very powerful position for him to take, even if it statistically doesn't make any sense with what's actually going on in the world. And that is deflection with humor. Watch what happens in this next clip as the audience starts to boo.
Well, let me just tell you something, and you know because you just saw the numbers yourself. NBC Wall Street Journal just came out with a poll. Headline, Trump way up, Cruz going down.
There he goes again, quoting his winning poll numbers. Now see how he deals with the boos.
I mean, so you can't, they don't like the Wall Street Journal, they don't like NBC, but I like the poll. And frankly, it just came out. And
now watch that. They were just booing him. He cracks this joke, people laugh, and watch how quickly the sentiment of the crowd changes.
In Iowa now, as you know, Ted, in the last 3 polls, I'm beating you. So, you shouldn't misrepresent how well you're doing with the polls.
So that is the power of laughter. It is a pattern interrupt. You can't stay booing and upset and angry when somebody makes you uncontrollably laugh. It also makes you more receptive to whatever comes next that somebody has to say because they've already started to lead you emotionally. So what Donald Trump is doing here is using laughter to take control of situations where he's starting to lose control. And what that does for him is it effectively helps him dodge any points that you make against him because he can almost erase them with a laughing crowd. This also works for ducking very pointed attacks like this one that you might have already seen on YouTube.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
And you hear Megyn Kelly here. Her point is getting drowned out. Obviously, it was more than just Rosie O'Donnell, but because Donald has made the audience crack up, the entire point gets lost. It gets dismissed as ludicrous, which is what Donald goes on to say in his answer. It was just a joke, yada, yada, yada. And people have accepted that at this point because he made them laugh. Now, it's not just through laughter that Donald Trump is able to avoid talking about any of the contentious issues in his record. In fact, one of the most popular ways for him that he's able to avoid engaging in any sort of reasonable debate about the things that he has said and done is by simply acting superior to them. So in this clip, Jeb is levying some charges against him. Watch Donald's face as he listens. He doesn't look at Jeb, and really he just has this complete look of disbelief and disgust, which communicates to the audience this is ludicrous. He doesn't even have to defend himself.
That ISIS was not our fight just 2 months ago. He said that Hillary Clinton would be a great negotiator with Iran, and he gets his foreign policy experience from the shows. That is not a serious kind of candidate. We need
So take that sort of nonverbal communication and contrast that with the reverse when Donald Trump goes and attacks Jeb Bush and see if you have a sense of how Jeb feels about it.
The trouble that we're now, and by the way, Jeb, you mentioned Boeing. Take a look. They order planes. They make Boeing build their plant in
So notice how Jeb is looking at Donald. It's clear that he is ready to react to him.
China. They don't want them made here. They want those planes made in China. That's not the way the game is supposed to be played.
You see that frustrated, tight look on Jeb's mouth. Basically what's going on here is that Donald is leading Jeb. Jeb appears to be reacting to him, which he is. And this is where that communication of strength goes through. Donald Trump sets the tone. Even when he's losing, he's able to reverse it with laughter. He acts superior to accusations against him. And then the people around him can't seem to deal with the accusations that he levies against him.